do the link? You want to send the link for Daniel?
It's the same link as you. It's on. To click on the same thing. That's why it's there.
Okay.
Same topic.
Okay, we're now by the. Good morning, everyone. We're by the Mishnah over here on Daf Yud Aleph Amud Bet al 111b. Ibn Tam today, by the way. Ibn Tam is the greatest Bali Taisus. From all the Bali Taisus, hundreds of Bali Taisus. All the yeshivot in Germany, France, Ibn Tam was considered the greatest. Okay, so the Mishnah says, what happens if you have a kesher that's eino shel kayom? It's not going to be permanent. Yesh l'chol kshorin shein chayav n'alein kekesher hagamal kekesher asiponim. There are knots that you're not chayiv, like the knot of the camel riders and the knot of the sailors. Meaning, you're not going to be chayiv, but it's going to be asur. You're not going to be chayiv a chatat. What are they? They are now, ladies. Now the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, a case where you're allowed to tie. Kosheret ishama miftach chalukah. A lady could tie the miftach of the chalukah, her shirts, were by the bottom of 111b. Would you do me a favor? Would you be able to turn it on to like 73 or something? Thank you so much. Thank you. So ladies allowed to tie her shirt. And basically the way they tied it was they put one side over the other. Rashi says, "L'shonis l'kana l'kam b'koshim sheyimim b'kosev small b'shel because of human." It was like a tie over. This one went over this side, this went over that side, and you tied it. But every day you took it apart. So therefore, since you took it apart every single day, it has nothing to do with the kesher shel chayama v'chutei tzvacha and the strings of her tzvacha. Remember, the tzvacha was that hat that she wore. The shel psikia. Psikia, Rashi says, is a wide belt. The kohen pindrus, I think it's a girdle. V'rtzuris min of a sandal. And the ties of a shoe or a sandal. The noidos, yain v'shemen, or the straps of the canteens of wine or oil. Ukederah shel basar. Sometimes they had a pot of meat that was tied with a cloth on top. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Omer koshel l'ftei behema b'shvil shaloi teitze. You could tie a rope in front of the animal, meaning by the corral, by the stall of an animal, so it doesn't go out. So the Gemara says, "Ha gufa kasha." What are you talking about? This itself is a contradiction. You started off saying that there are certain knots that are not going to be chayiv, like the first two knots in the first Mishnah of the Gamal and Saponim. Then that's mashma that there's going to be an isser. And then you tell me a lady's allowed to tie. What's the case? The case is a lady's allowed to, not asur b'derabbanan. She's allowed to do this, all these chutei tzvacha, miftach halukah, afilu chatchila. So the Gemara says, "Halchi kama yesh kshorin she'in chayav aleim b'kesher hagmal v'kesher saponim." So the Gemara says, "You're right. It's not mentioning those cases. There are cases that you're going to be chayiv, not going to be chayiv, but it's going to be derabbanan. And what are they? My new kitra dekatri bizmama, the kitra dekatri b'isteridah." Okay, that's the rope that's tied to the nose ring, and the knot which they tie through the ship's ring. So chiyuvu deleka, ha'isuriika, those they stay around for a while. They don't come off every day. Sometimes they leave it on for a week or two. Okay, ha'isuriika. those are going to be Isser. V'yeshu mitar l'chatchila kasheres miftachei chaluk. Ma'aniu kasheres miftachei chaluk. So, and then the Mishnah goes on to tell you which ones are completely mutter. Okay? Now, Rashi says, an unbelievable thing, he says, Shavua oy shvu'ayim. They're tied for a week or two. So, many Achronim say that Rashi holds it has to be at least a week. They seriously hold like that. The Taz holds, no, Rashi only chose that because that's normal. Because in those circumstances, by the camel and by the ship, that's normally what they usually do it. But Rashi would hold that even if it's less than a week, as long as it's somewhat permanent, there would be an Issa D'Rabbanan. So far what we have is like this. If something is permanent, like in the Mishkan, it's Chayav Midoraita. That's the knot, that's Chayav Midoraita. If you have it somewhat less permanent, but not totally temporary, then it's Asur D'Rabbanan. And if it's going to be temporary, totally, day to day, take it apart every day, then it's going to be Mutar. And that's the next case, that the lady could tie Miftach Chalukah. So the Gemara says, Pshita. Of course you could. Yeah. Of course you could do it. She takes it out every day. It has nothing to do with the... So the Gemara says, the Islay Trei Doshi. It has two openings. Okay. It has two openings. Two straps. Probably maybe she'll leave one knot tied permanently. And she'll be able to take it off by just untying the other one. Kumash Malan. So therefore you shouldn't be able to tie it. Because tying it is going to leave it tied permanently. Therefore, since you're not sure which one's going to be left, therefore each one should be considered asur. Kamash Balon, no. That you could tie it. We're not concerned about that. We assume that they'll both be taken apart every day.
Oh, it's not. My God. What do I do? Wait. How do you start this?
Oh, shall I wait a second? Huh? With Daniel. By the way, Rashi learns, I just mentioned this now. So, Rashi learns this whole parak that everything has to do with Kesher Shakayama or Kesher Shenat Shakayama. So, according to Rashi, there are three levels. Kesher Shakayama, Chayev. Kesher Shakayama somewhat, it's not 100% Shakayama, is Asur D'Rabbanan, and Kesher She'ena Shakayama is Mutter. There are other Rishonim that learn that, of course, that's what's going on in the Gemara, that there are three levels here, but they say that the Kesher Shagamolim and Tzaponim that you're Chayev Chatos is not only because it's a Kesher Shakayama, it's also because of the type of knot. It's a Kesher of Shal Umon. It's a professional knot. A professional knot, together with the fact that it's Kesher Shakayama, makes it also Deraisa. If it has either or, according to them, it's the Rabbanon. According to Rashi, what do you mean either or? Kesher Shel Uman is not anything, according to Rashi. But if it has the other one, Kesher Kayama, that's also with the Raisa, it's Chayev Chatos. According to them, no. That's also with the Rabbanon. And neither of them is Mutter. Okay? The Rif and the Rambam, it's a famous machlokes. And Halacha L'maisa, we take on both shittas. We worry about both sides. Sometimes it's cool this way, sometimes. So, okay, fine. Let's continue now. Chutei tzvacha, the strings of a hat, pshita. Of course it's mutter. According to Rashi, the kasha is, you untie them daily, it's not kasha shekayama. Right? According to the other Rishonim, you'll have to say it. They also say it's not a ma'aseh. Just right in parentheses. It's pshita because it's not a ma'aseh shekayama and it has no, it's a derabbanan because it doesn't have ma'aseh shuluma either. Okay, you see, each one's going to learn all these gemaras a little bit differently. But we're going to go with the Rashi in the normal way that Rashi holds that everything depends, contingent on the kesher shekayama, or if you're not completely kesher shekayama, you're for sure not chayiv chatos. But if you're somewhat machloikes achreinim, if Rashi means a whole week or maybe over 24 hours, that's what Taz holds. It's more machmir in Rashi shita. It's more than a day. So then you'll be asur derabanan, and then if it's not at all, that means not even one day, right? Like your shoelaces, you tie them in the morning, you untie them at night, that's going to be mutar. So the Gemara asks, chutei tzvacha, the strings of a hat, should be just like that. It's temporary. So the Gemara says, leitzricha derevichala. The hat is loose. So therefore, therefore, since she's able to take the hat off without untying the knot, because that's the way she made it, so therefore you might think that what? That she's going to take off the hat without untying the knot. You know, if a guy's shoes don't fit him, right? He ties it. So what does he have to just slip out his foot? You know, it's a little bit too big, the shoe. So therefore, she's going to leave the knot. So since a lady sometimes makes it in a case where she makes it pretty loose, so we should worry that the knot will remain on the hat. The lady is worried that if she takes it out without untying the knot, she's going to pull some hair out as well. So, therefore, she's always going to untie it, and therefore you have no worries. That's what the Mishnah is teaching you. Such a knot you can make on Shabbos, because such a knot will definitely be untied within the 24 hours, or within, according to the Beis Yosef, within a week, right? Basically, within the amount of time that we still consider it totally not permanent, and therefore it's going to be mutar, not just asur midrabanan, because it's somewhat permanent, but nothing. Okay. Uritzuot min al v'sandal. So in our Mishnah it said that you're allowed to tie ritzuot sandal min al v'sandal, shoes or sandals. Itmar, it was said hiti ritzuot min al v'sandal chayav chatat. That is one brisa. Okay? You hear this? If you untied the shoelaces or the sandal straps, chayav chatat. That's not like our Mishnah. Our Mishnah didn't even say it's derabanan. Our Mishnah said it's mutar. Tani chado, chayav chatat. V'tanya idach, patur aval asur. Another one says, midrabanan. It's patur but asur. V'tanya idach, mutar l'chatchila. Kasha min ala minul, kasha sandal a sandal. So there are basically three contradictory braitot over here. Is it deoraita, is it derabanan, or is it mutar? So each kind of shoe is contradicted by the other braitot. So the Gemara says, min al lo kasha. The shoes is not a contradiction. Hadik tani chayav chatas b'de ushkefi. That's the knot that the shoemakers make. They put some sort of strap into the hole in the shoe. They tie a knot so it shouldn't come out. It's a permanent knot. They don't want it ever to come out. So if you untie that knot, that's going to be chayav chatat, because that knot is a kesher shel kayoma. According to the other Rishonim, you'll have to say that it's also a kesher shel uman, a professional knot as well. Okay, that's just the parentheses, because there's other Rishonim that always learn that the oraita has to have not just permanence, total permanence, but also has to be a professional knot.
So is the professional not considered a double knot when it comes to regular shoes?
Maybe.
That's why in Shabbat you can't do double knots?
What?
That's still right there. Or is it rabbinic?
Yeah, because according to Rashi, since you're going to take it apart that day, so we shouldn't really care how many knots you make. But the answer is, what Michael just said, is that we're worried about the other Rishonim that say that even if it doesn't have any permanence because you're going to take it out that day, but if it has some sort of professionalism, right, has some sort of, so then it's Asur Midrabanan. So according to them, it could be Asur Midrabanan. So I think so, yes. So the Gemara is like this: Bid ushkafi, Pater Aval Asur, Bid Rabanan, Mutar Lechatchila. Bid Rabanan. Rashi says, since the Rabbanan would always be learning, they would usually just be like the Gemara says in Megillah. Where do they stay the whole day, and they were able to eat in there, in the Beit Midrash? It's called Beit Rabbanan. So they didn't have to tie their shoes so tightly. So they took the straps and they didn't tie them around their feet so straight, so tightly, and they were able to take their foot out and in of the shoes. Okay. Therefore, that's going to be asur midrabanan. Why? Midrabanan, drabanan. You remember that like that. Why is it going to be asur midrabanan? You should say it's asur deoraita because since they always just slip their feet in and out, it's going to be there forever. So the answer is that in this, they would untie them once in a while, or when it got muddy and rainy. So Rashi says they would tie them a little tighter because at the time b'shas atit matirin oto v'koshin oto b'dochek shelo yidavik betit v'yishamet miraglov. Because otherwise, what happens is you're going into a lot of mud, so it has like a suction and it pulls, and if they aren't very loose in the muddy season, they're going to slip right off your feet. So they would when that season came, they would untie them and retie them. So once every I don't know how many months. So it wasn't shakayama indefinitely for permanent forever. So therefore, it falls into the second carry. It's also midrabanan. But b'nei mechuzah, the famous b'nei mechuzah, we have them many times. Rashi says again, shehem rochvei levav. They have very wide, expanded hearts, and they were very finicky. Umakpidim al levusheim v'alein lias mechuvanim v'koshes b'doichik. Tzarich la'tiroi arvis. They would tie them very tightly, and everything had to fit exactly, Rashi says. Therefore, the only way to take off their shoes at night, since they tied it so tightly so that they should have a very beautiful, nice, snug fit, was to untie the knots. There's no way to take your foot out. So since they took them out every single night, we sound like B'nai Mechuzah, our feet, most of us. Some yeshivish guys, like Rabbanon, have those things that just put it in and out, right? When you were a bacher, right? That's the way you're doing it. The back of your shoe is always smashed in, right? You were too lazy to untie the thing. So that's going to be mutar. So the Gemara says sandal kasha, and the cases of the straps of the sandal are also not a kasha. Why? Because the Arabian merchants, okay, those are the sandals of the Arabian merchants, and when the shoemakers make them, the sandals, they had some sort of straps that the shoemaker would tie permanently. They stayed there on the shoe, on the sandal. That was the look, whatever it was, on the outside. Held it together. It's going to be chayav chatos because it's there forever. Patur av, Patur aval asur b'duchumar to the kotri inu. That's by the people who tie it themselves. Now, what do you mean? Other people, not the Arabian merchants, and they wouldn't have it done by professional shoemakers because they weren't fancy merchants. So therefore, they would tie them themselves and untie them themselves. How long did they keep them tied? Sometimes for a week or month. And therefore, they were somewhat permanent, and therefore it's asur midrabanan. Mutar lechatchila b'desandal denafke beitrei. When two people share a sandal, when two people wear a sandal, so everybody has different sized feet. And therefore, this was constantly being untied and retied to fit each person. Therefore, it's totally not permanent. So the Gemara says, "K'd Rav Yehuda," like in the case of Rav Yehuda's sandal. Rav Yehuda achva de Rav Sola Chasida. Rav Yehuda, the brother of Rav Sola, the Chassid, the Paisan, Havaleyahu Zugud the sandal. He had a pair of sandals. Zimna de Nafik Be'ihu. Sometimes he wore them. Sometimes Nafik Be'inuke. Sometimes a little kid you wore them. His child. Also, the Kamei da Abaye. He once came before Abaye on Shabbos. Omar lei b'hai kai gavdamai. So am I allowed to take these knots out on Shabbos so my son could wear them? Omar lei chayav chatat. Omar lei hashta potar aval also kakashali. If you would have told me that it's asumi that abanan, I would have been perplexed. I wouldn't have understood what you meant, because we take them out every day. And now you're telling me it's midoraita chayav chatat kametli. Omalei mishun b'choil nami zimdi nafikna be'ano zimdi nafikna be'yunuka. Oh, I think I skipped the two words. My timer. So Rabbi says, why don't you understand what I'm saying? So he told him, because sometimes me and my son wear them. Omalei hachi mutar l'chatchila. I didn't know that. So what happened was like this. This knot was actually made by the shoemaker. And really, it would have stayed there forever. It was those that were made by the shoemaker that stayed there. The only reason why they took them out is because they had to, because they sheared them. But he said, I didn't know that. That's why I thought it was totally permanent. Now you're telling me it's not permanent at all. Of course, it's mutar l'chatchila. Okay. Rabbi Yirmiyah was walking behind a bevo in a carmelist. Ifstik ritzua the sandali. It's the aleph. Ifstik le ritzua the sandali. So
Strap ripped?
yeah. Fine. So the strap ripped on Malay, so Rabbi Yirmiyah told him, my navila, what should I do with this? Meaning, now I have a new problem. I can't carry it because it's carmeless. And I can't wear it because it won't stay on the foot. The strap snapped. So he says, Omalei, shkol gemi lach techazi l'maycha behema, uchroichi levei. Take something that's not muktzah, like a moist gemi, a reed, that's fit for animal food. It's not muktzah. Strap it around. Now you can walk with it. You're not carrying. You're not going to have to carry it. You can wear it on your foot, and you tie it around. Same story happened. Omar Lei, he asked Rav Yosef, my Avile, what should I do? Omar Lei Shavke, don't move it. Okay? Now this was not taking place in a Carmelist, this was taking place in Rishus HaYochid. And yet, Rabbi Yosef told him that he can't move it. Well, why can't he carry it? The answer is because it's muktzah. Because what are you going to do with this sandal? Ma'ishna b'd Rabbi Yirmiyah. So how come in the story of Rabbi Yirmiyah and Rabavo, he let him take a reed and tie it around the sandal? Now, in order to tie it around the sandal, you have to first pick up the sandal. Right, let's say this is the sandal that snapped. It doesn't work. So now you want to tie a reed. But this is muktzah. And over there, Rabbi Vo told him, no, just get a reed and tie it around and you won't have an issue. So the Gemara says, Hasam le minter. There, it wasn't protected. What? It would be stolen, the sandal, because it was in a carmelist. It wasn't in a private domain. Hocha minter. Which means, since someone could steal it, even though it was muktzah, he said, but if you're going to lose it, in order to prevent loss, so therefore there's no isser muktzah. Okay? That's a big chiddush. Everybody asks on this Gemara, right? But in the case of the Rishus HaYachid, where it's not going to get lost at all, and it's muktzah, so Rabbi Yosef told Abai, there's no excuse. There's no way for you to move this sandal. Just leave it where it is, and Motzei Shabbat, you'll come and get it. So the Rishonim say, where do we ever find that because you're going to lose money for a hefsid mammon, you're allowed to, there's no Yisur muktzah? Exactly. You're not allowed to. So the Ritva says, no, because I know it's going to get stolen, therefore I'm going to end up using it. Even though it can't really be used, I'll use it in some sort of clumsy fashion. So Mela, it's still usable. But in the Rishus HaYachid, it's not usable. Who would ever wear that? Just go inside and get your own. You got to be crazy to wear that. You're not going to be really able to wear it. But over here, you'll do everything to wear it. Just so that, the problem is you're going to be carrying it. So therefore, Rabbi Voa told him, get a reed, wrap it around. Or he was worried that he's going to pick it up and carry it. He won't do it in a clumsy fashion. But since people would do it in a clumsy fashion, right? Therefore, it doesn't become muktzah. Okay, says the Gemara, v'hamanahu. But how could you say that it's muktzah? Abaya asked Rabbi Yosef, v'hamanahu. It's still considered a keli. Because I could change it from the right side to the left side. Because how many straps did it have? It had two straps. One on the outside of the foot, one on the inside of the foot. Okay? So therefore, which strap snapped? The one on the outside. She said, if I turn it around, where I put it on the left side, put it onto the other foot, then it will be able to be worn. Why? Because now that I put it on now that it's on the right foot, for example, and the left and the right side of it, the outside of it, broke. So Abaye says, no. If you change the sandal to the other foot, then it will be on the inside the strap. Since the strap will be on the inside, then it's still usable. Why? Because people would only fix, Rashi says, people would only fix.
But the inside's not able though.
What?
But the inside is not able.
The inside you could fix. And even though when you fix it, Rashi says it looks pretty bad. It looks a little bit, it's like disgraceful. But if you put it into the inside of your foot, in between your legs, nobody's going to see it. Now, if the outside strap snaps, it's embarrassing. Because if you try to fix it, everybody will see that you fixed the strap. So therefore, Abaye said, even though my outside strap snapped, if I put it on the other foot, it won't look so bad. And Memela, it's still going to be a keli and it won't become muktzah.
So now you're doing only because of looks?
No, meaning to say, as long as I could still make it look okay and wear it, so it still has purpose, it's still a utensil that can be worn. And there's no worries about muktzah. Muktzah is only because you cannot wear this item anymore.
Right. So
and why can't you wear it? Because it's disgraceful.
Not because of the looks, because of what people will see, because that's on the inside part of the outside part of your foot.
Well, if it's... Yeah, because of the looks. Because of the looks. Nobody's going to wear a shoe that looks terrible. Right? But if I could make it look normal, and I would wear it. So is it garbage or not garbage? That's the question. So Abaye is saying, people only fix things that break on the inside. So if it breaks on the outside, I could still put this sandal on my left foot. If I put it on my left foot, I'll switch around the shoes. Then it will become that the strap, which strap broke now? The inside one. Then it's mendable. People would fix that. That would be normal to fix because it's not so noticeable. So if it's still mendable, fixable, it's not muksa. So Abai is asking, why are you telling me that this is muksa? Because Rabbi Yochanan, as we're going to see in a minute, paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yehuda holds that even when the outside strap snaps, it's muktzah. And Rabbi Yehuda doesn't go for this and saying, well, it's still not muktzah because technically I could really switch feet and make it now into the inside strap and therefore make it usable. And therefore, since Rabbi Yochanan paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, therefore we're going to go like that. And it's muktzah. Where do we find that Yehuda such a thing? Mahi. What do we find? The Tanya. Sandal shenifseku shtei oznav. Two of its ears broke off. Or shtei tresi oistav. Or both of the straps. Or shenitel kol hakaf shaloi. Or the whole sole came off toher. That's toher because it's not a keli anymore. Okay? And therefore, you can't fix these shoes, so it's not a keli. And even if you fixed the keli now, it's like a brand new keli, and the old tumah does not come back. Because one of the ways that the tumah comes off is that you break it, it's not anymore a keli. Achas me'oznav, but the ears are like the top part of the shoe, broke off, only one of them, one of the strap holders, or most of the sole came off, but not the whole thing, tomei. Then therefore it still retains its tumah, and the tumah doesn't come off. Okay? Now, why not? What about, now which strap? Achas mitreisiyoisav is which strap? It doesn't say which strap, which is mashma, even the outer one. So what are you going to do? You're going to put it, but the outer one you could put into the inner one, right? You could switch it around. So therefore, since you could put it into the inner one, so even the outer one, when it snaps, is still going to be tomei, so it's usable. That's what the Chacham hold. But Rabbi Yehuda argues with the Tanakama. He says nifstika pnim is tomei. If the inside one snapped, it's tomei because you could still fix it. Hachitzoyna toher, because you don't turn it around. That's the chayr of the pshat. Because people don't do that. Ve'omar ulu v'teim Rabbi Bar Bachana Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Ulu said in the name of Rabbi Bar Bachana, the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Kimachloikas le'inyan tumah, kach machloikas le'inyan Shabbos. Avaloi le'inyan chalitza. This machloikas will be negeya to Hilchot Shabbat. Why will it be negeya to Hilchot Shabbat? Because of what we just said. Rabbi Yehuda is going to say people don't do that. You don't say that when you switch it around. It's unusable, just like for Tumah. It's considered like the Tumah departs. Why? The Tumah departs because it's considered a non-utensil anymore. So for Shabbat also, when you don't say, well, it's not muktzah because I technically could put it on the other shoe. But in regards to chalitza, one of these two man da'omrim are going to be moided to the other, and they're not going to have a machlikas. They're not, either the chacham are going to say that that in regards to chalitza, I agree with you that nifsaka pnimis, nifsaka chitzoyna is not a shoe, and you can't use the shoe for the chalitza process, which is when someone's husband dies and that lady doesn't have any children. So her brother-in-law, her husband's brother, has to either marry her, that's a mitzvah of yibum, or release her and allow her to marry anybody else through the process of something called chalitza, which is that she unties the strap off his shoe, off his sandal, off his shoe. So such a shoe that's nifstika Hachitzaina, one of the two Madarim are going to admit to the other one. It's not going to be a machlokes over there. Over there, either the Chacham are going to say that it's not anymore a shoe and you can't use the chalitza, or over there, Rabbi Yehuda is going to be maideh that in regards to chalitza, it's still considered a shoe. And we asked about this. Who is he saying? That what? That Rabbanan were saying like this. There's a machlokes in Tumah, there's a machlokes in Shabbos. That what? That it always remains a utensil. Things that could technically turn it around. But Rabbi Yochanan is saying, Avaloida in Yichalitza, there the Chachamim will be moideh to Rabbi Yehuda that if the outside strap snaps, you're done and you can't use it for Chalitza. Avaloida chitzlav manu, how could you say that? V'yotanan, chol tzushel smoil b'yamin Chalitza sekshero. What happens if she took off his right foot a left sandal? That means he basically put the wrong sandal, the left sandal, on the right foot, which is exactly our case over here. So it's still good, it's kosher. So you see that in regards to chalitza, even if you switch, right, so it must be that Rabbi Yochanan was saying that it's never considered a keli because people don't switch it. There he's maideh, because it says that if a lady removes the left shoe off the right foot, it's still considered enough of a shoe for chalitza. So the Gemara says, okay? Which is like this, that in the case of chalitza, it doesn't really make sense. Because what's that whole raya? That what? That it's kosher? Because we said that by chalitza, if you put on the left shoe on his right foot and that you took that off, it's kosher. But the left shoe that's on this guy's right foot, in the case of chalitza, is a beautiful shoe. Dilemilse manahu. For its matter, it's still a perfect shoe, which means that if you would put it on the left foot now, let's say you would put this, he put it on the wrong foot. Let's say you say, sir, that's not the right shoe, get the other shoe. Put this back on your left foot. So how would it fit on his left foot? Perfectly. There's no straps that are snapped. So that's why the halacha is that if you put it on the wrong shoe, on the wrong foot, it's still deemed as a real shoe. Because it is a good shoe for the left foot. However, over here, we're talking about that it snapped. Because the Yehuda said that if it broke off its tar, so you see that Rabbi Yehuda holds it's not considered a monah. So for chalitza it also shouldn't be considered a monah. So it doesn't really make sense, the Gemara says. Either way, this doesn't make sense. So how can Rabbi Yochanan say that in le'inyin chalitza, someone is moided to the other one? It doesn't make sense for him to say for the Rabban or for Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara says, la'olam ali b'de Rabbi Yehuda. Really, he said that it's according to Rabbi Yehuda. Eima v'chein lachalitza. And don't say that Rabbi Yochanan said, Aval loyle inyi chalitza, but not in regards to chalitza, there Rabbi Yehuda's moide. But rather, Rabbi Yochanan was saying, just like there's machlokes in Tumah, there's machlokes in Shabbos, v'chein inyi chalitza, and there Rabbi Yehuda will argue as well in chalitza. V'hakamash v'lon, d'chiyah bin chotza shosma b'shoyim in chalitza tzakshero, heichadil milsei, manahu. That's the weirdest meaning. The chiddush is that although we learned in a brayso that no one seems to argue with, that when you use the wrong shoe by chalitza, she's removing the left shoe off his right foot, it's kosher. That's only because dilemilse manahu. That's only because for its purpose, which means what's its purpose? Its function, its main function is the left foot. It's a mana, it's perfectly intact. Aval hacha, but here the milsa lav manu, it's not considered a good shoe anymore because it's snapped. There, if you use it for chalitza, it won't be good. Okay. Now, Shaila is one little Rashi here. Rashi here says, why can't it be that Rabbi Yochanan was talking about the Rabbanan now? Once you're saying that the Rabbi Yochanan really said v'chein le'inyin chalitza, so why can't he just say that the Rabbanan say machlokas le'inyin tumah is a machlokas le'inyin Shabbos, but not v'chein le'inyin chalitza, that it always retains its value as a real shoe. It's always a real shoe. Just like he's saying it for Rabbi Yehuda that's never a good shoe, you should say it for the Rabbanan also. So Rashi says, the imkain, second line on top, may also lashmin Rabbi Yochanan. Kimin de lemilsa manu behedya tanan lo masisin mishum de afchad lo mifsal de tan chotzish b'shas mal b'yimich litzosuk sheira. B'ayim de amar le'el de metar to Rabbi Yochanan libid Rabbi Yehuda. He's saying it's so poshut that according to the Rabbanon, such a shoe will be able to work. Why? He says because the Chacham hold that anytime you could switch the shoe, you always consider it a money even for the original foot. Right? So obviously, so the Gemara is saying like this: if the Chacham are saying by Shabbos, says Rashi, that this item is considered mamish, a real shoe, even for the left foot, I mean, the fact that I could switch it to my right foot means that it's still considered a money for the left foot. Kal v'chomer, it's going to be considered a good chalitza when I switch it to the right foot and I'm using it for the other foot. So there's absolutely no chiddush in the Chachamim that say that it's considered a good shoe. It's only in Rabbi Yehuda that there was some sort of chiddush that Rabbi Yehuda considered it not a shoe at all and muktzah. So then maybe he would consider it at least some sort of a good shoe when you switch it, when you actually switch it to the shoe by chalitza, when it snaps, because I did switch it, kamash malon, that even then it's not considered a shoe. Umi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Hachi, says the Gemara, you're telling me, so Rav Yosef told Abaye, do you know why your shoe is muktzah? Because we paskin like Rabbi Yochanan that said that the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan was saying. And he passed like Rabbi Yehuda, and therefore since it snapped, even though technically it could be switched to the other foot and make it less disgraceful, people don't do that. Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's tohor, it's muktzah, and it's pasuf chalitza. All those three halachas, tohor for tumah, muktzah, and pasuf chalitza are all because of one reason, because we don't consider it a shoe. Frek the Gemara, did Rabbi Yochanan really pass like Rabbi Yehuda? V'amar Rabbi Yochanan, halacha kistam mishnah. Utanan, sandal shenifzga achas me'azav v'tikno, Tomi midros, my lav lo yishna primis v'lo yishna chitzoyna. Okay? Halacha like this: a sandal that one of its ears broke off, and you repaired it. So it's Tomei Midris. They take this out, they leave this in. So since the Zav already wore it, remember what Tomei Midris is? We had it many times. It's anything which is supports the Zav, like a bed or a chair or the shoes. So the halacha is that if a zav is supported by it, even if he doesn't touch it, it becomes tumas midras, which means the tumah of being treaded upon, of being stepped upon, and it becomes tumas av, like the zav. So what happened if the zav already wore the shoe, and he already rendered the shoe tomei midras, and now this dove comes, but now the shoe breaks, it tears. So if only one fell off, so it's still Tamei Midras. Why? Because it's still usable. My lav, lo yishna pimis v'lo yishna chitzayna. And it doesn't say which one fell off. So it sounds like either the inside or the outside, even the outside one. Aha, and it's a Stam Mishnah. And Rabbi Yochanan says the halacha is like a Stam Mishnah. And this Stam Mishnah doesn't go like Rabbi Yehuda. Because this Stam Mishnah says that it's still considered usable, and that's why it retains its Tumas Midras. So the Gemara says, Loi, Pnim is Dafka. The Mishnah was specifically talking about the Pnim because it has to work with Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Because Rabbi Yochanan has to go like the Mishnah, because it's a Stam Mishnah. And Rabbi Yochanan already said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. And therefore, in order to make everything work, therefore, we're going to say it's the Primus. So the Gemara says what? But if the outside one snapped off, then he's going to go like Rabbi Yehuda and say that it's completely tar. Listen to this case. It's a Geschmacke case. Let's say the second part of the ear on the shoe broke off after the first one was already fixed. Okay? So Toher min midros, avol tome maga midros. Okay? Now, what happened over here? Both of them broke off. Yeah, but both of them broke off after I already fixed the first one. Right? But still, since both of them broke off and that's not a shoe anymore, the halacha is that it's going to lose its tumas midros, avol tome maga midros. But at the end of the day, the shoe did touch a midros when it was tome midros, and therefore will have a tumah of something that touched a midros. Now, why? Right now, when you have this new shoe, the first one was repaired, the second one was repaired. So what you have is nothing of the original shoe that had Tumas Midras. And therefore the Tumas Midras departs.
It's an issue.
Right. But the shoe has once touched itself when it was Tamei Midras. Okay? So therefore it's still going to have the Tumah. It's not that shoe that the Zav stepped in.
So it's not out.
Right, but it's exactly, but it's a rishon because it's a utensil that touched the shoe. So the Gemara says nifloig b'didah. Let the Mishnah. Why does the Mishnah have to say this case? The Mishnah could just speak about a simple case. When did the Mishnah say that if one fell off, it's still going to be Tamei Midras shenifseka pnimis? Avol chitzoyin atoyer. But if the outer one fell off, since according to Rabbi Yehuda, that when the outer one falls off, no one switches it, that should make it tar from Tumas Midras. You could have said the exact same halacha without making a whole fancy case that the second one broke off after you fixed the first one, then you fix the second one. Amar Rav Yitzchak ben Yosef. It's a very strong kasha, meaning it's a very fancy kasha. It's a gushmake kasha because the Gemara is saying you're trying to relegate, to pinpoint and say that to limit the case in the Mishnah to dafka the pnimis, but if it would be like that, then I could have had a simple case according to Yehuda. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yosef, tehei Mishnah seinu b'sandal sheyesh lo arba oznayim v'arba treis tziyosim shelo lishber dvarov shel Rabbi Yochanan, which means let our Mishnah, the Mishnah of Tamei Midras, be talking about a sandal that has 4 oznayim and 4 straps, okay, 2 on each side. Shelo lishber dvarav shel Rabbi Yochanan, so that Rabbi Yochanan shouldn't be a stira. Meaning Rabbi Yochanan really goes like Rabbi Yehuda. But it's not a steer for the fact that Rabbi Yochanan said halacha is like a stam mishnah, because this mishnah could also be explained according to Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because the mishnah said sandal shenifsuka achas me'ozan v'tikna tomei midros, and we said my lav lo yishna pnimis v'lo yishna chitzayna. It doesn't really matter which one broke off, whether it's the outside one or the inside one. That's the simple reading of the Mishnah. The simple diuk, inference of the Mishnah would be, without limiting it to one side, would be that either side is going to be Tamei Midros. Now, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the kasha was, if this Mishnah went like Rabbi Yehuda, what was the Gemara's kasha? It shouldn't be Tamei Midros anymore, because once the outside strap snaps off, people don't use it anymore. It's garbage. So it should lose its keli status and it shouldn't be Tamei. The Gemara is answering no, because you know how many it had? It didn't have two straps, and the outside one fell off. So now you're only left with the inside one. Even if it was the outside one that fell off, you're left with another outside strap. And therefore, the shoe is still usable. And that's what the Mishnah is saying. Even according to Yehuda. It's very simple, there's absolutely no stira. Ki yasser Rav and Omer Rav Chana Barabba Omer Rav Haloch Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan Omer Ein Haloch Rabbi Yehuda. Listen to this. Rav said in the name of Chana Barabba, in the name of Rav, that goes like Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yochanan says, Ein Haloch Rabbi Yehuda. In fact, the Gemara Rabbi Yochanan Hachi. For how mid the Miteret Rabbi Yochanan leave Rabbi Yehuda. Since Rabbi Yochanan was trying to explain Rabbi Yehuda, where did we see that? When Rabbi Yochanan said that Kemachloikis le'inyan Tumah, kach kemachloikis le'inyan Shabbos, v'chein le'inyan Chalitza, and he was trying to explain Rabbi Yehuda's Shita. That means that he goes like Rabbi Yehuda. So, Shema min Rabbi Yehuda's Tzvirlei. So the Gemara says, Amaroy ninu v'alib Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, it's a machloikis Amaroyim of what Rabbi Yochanan said. Some Amoraim said that he said that, and some say no. He just said that the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. So now the Gemara is like this: Tanan Hosam. Okay, I think we should stop here. No.
Hey, Rabbi?
Yeah, I do. I have to go to a shul to pray. Everybody should have a great Shabbos. 10 o'clock, Bezrat Hashem, here. If you're able to make it. It's a big